St. Louis City SC draws with the Colorado Rapids 1-1 after 90 minutes, and man, this game was tough to watch. So we're going to begin at the start, and the start was we didn't do anything. The whole first half was just such a I don't know what it was. I don't know what exactly was going on, but our defense looked so confused, almost as if we were having five at the back like we did against Seattle a couple of weeks ago. The midfield was just so out of sync between the defensive lines and the attacking lines. Everyone seemed so confused and off balance with each other that nothing really clicked and nothing really seemed to get going. And yeah, it seemed like Colorado had opportunity after opportunity, chance after chance, but luckily for us, they just seemed to be offsides every single time. But with the way that they were attacking, surely they'd be onside at least once throughout the game, right? If I had to sum up this entire first half in just one word, it would be Roman Bürki. Yes, I know that's two words, but my goodness, was this guy absolutely on fire, not only for the first half, but the entire game. This game should have ended 4-5-1 in favor of Colorado, but Roman Bürki stood on his head like an absolute G, and yeah, he was the only reason this team got a point in Colorado tonight. So then halftime comes around, obviously 0-0 to close out the first 45 minutes. I'm not a huge stat guy. I think certain stats are just a little bit silly to look at, but when you look at expected goals, when it's 1.8 something to 0.14 in favor of Colorado after that first half, yeah, you got to switch some things up and get a totally different look going into the second half. And to be fair, we did get that change at halftime. Bradley Carnell takes off Akil Watts in favor of Indiana Vassilev just at the beginning of the second half. And I thought Watts was, he was okay. He didn't really do anything good or bad, which I guess in the grand scheme of things is probably for the better. I'd rather him not really do anything than do something absolutely terrible. But when Vassilev came on the field, it was an instant change. Getting certain passes to different players that you just didn't see in the first half. He had an immediate effect when he came onto the pitch. So then 2 minutes into the second half, Jared Stroud takes a pretty silly yellow card in my opinion, but goes down into the book, and he would get subbed off eventually later on into the second half. But just a few minutes after he gets that yellow card, he has an absolutely gorgeous chance to make it 1-0 to City SC, and he hits the side netting. He's probably 3 yards out from the goal, wide open. There's one defender who's in the goal who's just to the side. He's running back as well, so he's off balance. There's really no way he would have been able to make a save on it without using his hands or something, and he shanked it just outside of the post to his left. Should have been 1-0 right there, but he did redeem himself just a couple of minutes later with an absolute beautiful cross into the box for Rasmus Alm to get it into the back of the net. Beautiful shot by Rasmus Alm. He's been on fire. Obviously, he had the own goal, whatever, against Cincinnati last week, and he's just been on a roll so far. So Rasmus Alm gets on the board again, makes it 1-0 to City, and maybe not deservedly so. Like I said, with the first half, Roman Bürki's the only reason that score was 0-0 going into halftime. So who knows without Bürki, but after 57 minutes, City SC is up 1-0. So, like I said a minute ago, Stroud and Klaus come off the field just a couple of minutes later, with Thomas Ostrak and Celio Pompeo coming onto the field in replace of them. Almost kind of felt like a 4-5-1 after those guys came on, instead of the 4-4-2 that we started with at the beginning of the game, which I didn't necessarily mind at all. Yes, we were up 1-0 with the altitude. I would have liked them to kind of keep that 4-4-2 shape, just because that's our style of play. We like to attack and non-stop attack, no matter if it's the first minute or the 89th minute. But having that lead, I don't necessarily hate those changes. So those subs came in the 61st minute, and just a few minutes later, in the 70th minute, Colorado decides to make 4 substitutions all at once. And once those guys came onto the field, you could tell there was just that little extra push with those fresh legs coming on, that Colorado was really, really looking for that equalizing goal. So getting a sense that pressure was building and maybe looking for something a little bit different, Bradley Carnell decides to use his 4th and 5th subs of the game, bringing on Samuel Pedro and Miggy Perez, and replace for today's goal scorer Rasmus Alm, as well as John Nelson. So just a minute after the final subs for the team come onto the field, Celio Pompeo gets himself into the book with a yellow card. Just a typical preventing a fast break, kind of tugging on the shirt. I don't hate it. I mean, it was about midfield, so that's just one of those where you just got to take the yellow card and move on. So the game is nearing its closing stages, and like I said a minute ago, all of the subs that came on for Colorado in the 70th minute just kind of kept adding to the pressure and to the pressure of this game, really looking for that equalizing goal. Abubakar does get himself into the book, but just a couple minutes later, in the second minute of extra time, Barrios decides to cut through the defense with pretty much smooth like a butter knife, fires it past from Mberki, who I cannot stress enough had an unreal game tonight. There is absolutely no fault in his play tonight. He was unreal. But this one does get past him to even up the score 1-1. Tim Parker for City and Priso for Colorado both pick up yellow cards in the dying minutes of the game. But after that goal goes in, there's nothing else really to talk about. There were one or two more half chances for Colorado pushing for that final game-winning goal there at the end of the game, but that is all she wrote. And the final score after match day 9 is City SC 1, Colorado 1. Now, it's tough to say what exactly went wrong for City today. Maybe it was the short travel because of the altitude, or who knows what it could have been. Just maybe the play style by Colorado. They tend to play a pretty similar style to us, where they like to absorb pressure and then hit quick on the counter. You could tell from the jump with all of the offside kind of running behind the defensive line. You could see, who knows what it was, but a pretty lucky point gained in Denver, Colorado tonight, if you ask me. But we get out of there with an extra point, no harm, no foul, and we move on to Union Omaha on Tuesday for the first round of the U.S. Open Cup. Quick fact check. It's the third round of the U.S. Open Cup, but it's the first time City SC is playing in the Open Cup. And if you watched my previous matchday vlog with me and my buddy Brian going to the City SC versus Cincinnati game, you would have seen that I will be at the U.S. Open Cup game with Brian as well for the City SC versus Union Omaha game. So I am super excited to be there. We're going to be right there in the middle of the supporter section again. And yeah, I'm hoping for a much better result on Tuesday than we got tonight. So there you go. There's a quick recap from myself on the City SC Colorado Rapids game over the weekend here. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you really enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and let me know in the comments. I kind of am thinking about doing these sort of review videos for all of the soccer games here in St. Louis if I can't be at the games, obviously. So yeah, leave a comment down below as well if you enjoy seeing these kind of videos. Trying to spice things up here a little bit, see what goes well and what doesn't. So until next time, I will see y'all and take care.